All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lepagus show. I am Lepagus here with One Bar, who's clearly dehydrated. On today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about. There's been a lot of rumors going around. Deshaun Watson just it doesn't go away. Kirk Cousins to the Niners with Jimmy Garoppolo again. So we're going to talk about quarterbacks the Vikings could trade for besides Deshaun Watson and how we'd feel about it, what maybe it would cost to get them, and again, this isn't what we want to do. I'm fine going with Kirk Cousins again another year. I got no problem with him. I thought he played great last year, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. Do you not?
I do feel the same way. The point of this is basically anything is possible. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Who would have ever thought the Vikings would have traded a 7th-round pick for Trumaine Brock? But it happened, damn it.
Yeah, and we've already seen Matt Stafford go to the Rams, Jared Goff go to the Lions. I mean, shit's already getting crazy, and these rumors just are not going away. There's just a little bit of this. The embers are glowing orange still, so we're gonna just maybe blow a little air on them, see what happens. Again, this isn't what we want to happen. Don't really think anything's gonna happen, but if it did happen, we're gonna kind of just rank how we feel about these quarterbacks in purple.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this topic. New quarterbacks, whether you like it or not, it's a great talker. Let's do this.
Let's do it. All right, let's start with one who, kind of shockingly was replaced with 3-4 games left in the 2020 season. We're talking Philadelphia Eagles, injury prone Carson Wentz. How would you feel the Vikings swung a deal where he ended up in purple?
Well, first off, surprisingly, I don't think it was that surprising. He was 3-8-1 as a starter last year. He played like ass. As far as Carson Wentz is concerned, yes, he's from North Dakota State, very close to Minnesota, close to our hearts, but I want nothing to do with Carson Wentz. And while he might come back to his old form, what I don't like about Carson Wentz in that whole scenario is when they drafted this quarterback, Jalen Hurts, like put his dick between his legs and got all scared. He didn't like rise to the occasion. You know, I wish he would have rose to the occasion, got fiery out there, but it just seems like he just wants out, and I don't like that.
Are you saying he tucked when they drafted Jalen Hurts?
In front of the mirror, and I think he's gone. I don't think he's coming back to Philly, and who knows what that price tag would be to get him. He's got a big old fat contract, and he's coming off a horrible, horrible year. So I really want nothing to do with that situation.
Yeah, I don't either personally. I just think he's so injury prone. And I read something too that it's Nick Foles that's in his head when he didn't lose his job. He was hurt. Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. He couldn't shake that, and he kind of went down after that. So maybe there's some truth to that. Who knows? But yeah, he's already proven he's not the option. He's not the answer. So where he ends up, I don't know. But I don't want him in purple. You asked me that a couple years ago, I would have said hell yeah. But right now, I'm not interested in Carson Wentz one bit.
Yeah, let's just move on from Carson Wentz. That's just gross.
So here's a rumor that I've seen quite a bit on Twitter the last couple of days. Vikings getting the 9th overall pick and Drew Lock for Kirk Cousins. How would you feel about that deal and Drew Lock being in purple?
You know, that one's a little intriguing. I will say that. I mean, Drew Lock, I don't think he's by any means a superstar. I think he's got that big old cannon of an arm, which I really enjoy. And he's been on a Broncos team that just kind of mildly gross. Compensation would be very interesting on that, what it would take to get a Drew Lock with a Kirk Cousins involved. So I don't know. I'm just a little, I'm going to say this one is vanilla ice cream for me.
You know, I actually like Drew Lock. I think he's a lot of fun. You see him rapping on the sidelines. He kind of gets excited. Denver's a really young team. They got young quarterback. You look at Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant, young weapons in the passing game. So yeah, there's going to be some struggles. There's going to be some growth there, growth spurts, growing pains with Alan Pick, RIP. But I actually would like Drew Lock. You know, for the 9th overall pick and him, and then you send Kirk Cousins to Denver, I'll be all for that. I think he's got plenty of upside still. He hasn't been horrible. So I would be. You look at the weapons that he'd have. He had Delvin Cook as his running back, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. Who knows what the tight end situation is going to be, if it's Rudolph and Smith or Smith and Conklin. Either way, plenty of weapons for Luck to develop and grow. So I'm completely on board with that.
Well, and here's where I don't think it happens because anybody trading for Kirk Cousins is probably a team that's kind of on the cusp of getting there, kind of like the Rams for Stafford. Where the
Yeah.
Broncos trade for Kirk Cousins, does it really make that much of a difference? He's a better than Drew Lock, no doubt about it. But is he going to take the Broncos to the next level? No. As a Vikings fan, would I love that 9th overall pick to pair up with that 14th overall pick? Yeah, that sounds great. From a Broncos standpoint, I don't think this has any legs or any pubes.
Yeah, but if that phone rang and that was the offer, I would take it. No doubt.
I probably would too. We'd be taking a little bit of a dip at quarterback, but we do get a young one. Who knows what the future holds? And we'd have those 2 picks in the top 15, which they could have fun with trading up or doing something goofy.
Yeah, that'll be absolutely sweet. Let's move on to another one. Sam Darnold. It just seems like the Jets are set on Zach Wilson with the 2nd pick. Darnold's going to be available. He's going to probably cost you a 1st rounder, but Vikings, they decide, hey, we're going to move on from Kirk Cousins. How would you feel if they went ahead and sent number 14 over to the Jets for Sam Darnold?
Wow. Sam Darnold, I don't think he's had a fair shake. He's on a shitty team. He's still only 23 years old. I like Sam Darnold when he came out of USC. It's crazy to think he's already been in the league for 3 years. Clearly, he needs a whole new scenery. He needs to get out of New York and see what he's got. I would actually be okay with that. I would be actually okay with Sam Darnold coming because he's still on that rookie contract. It'd be beautiful. And who knows? Maybe he pans out. I don't think he's just had a fair shake in New York.
No, I agree. They didn't give him any weapons. He's got what? Denzel Mims, Jamison Crowder to throw to.
Yuck.
Yeah, I don't think they just. I mean, I wouldn't give up on him yet if I'm the Jets. But yeah, I don't see this happening in the state number 1. I don't think it's a realistic possibility for the Vikings. But I don't think Sam Darnold's going to be a Jet next year. He's going to end up on a new team. But I think he's still got plenty to give. He can move around the pocket. He's not really a scrambler, but he can create extra time. He's got a strong arm. You put this kind of team with some weapons, like you said, a decent O-line, and I think he's going to be a hell of a quarterback. So, yeah, I would be fine if Sam Darnold ended up in purple, though I think the chances of that happening are about 2%.
Yeah, well, the Jets did try to get Kirk Cousins. They got a special little spot in their heart for Kirk Cousins, so that could be part of the deal. You never know. It will be interesting to see what happens with Sam Darnold. It appears over the last, Drew Lock, Sam Darnold, it kind of sounds like you just want to get rid of Kirk Cousins because you're kind of okay with all these trades.
I don't like it, but I mean, the Drew Lock one is one I was seeing on Twitter today. I'm like, God, that's actually not a bad deal. Darnold, I haven't seen anything about. There's no legs to that at all. There's no fire. There's no smoke or anything. But I would be fine with either one, to be honest with you. The next guy I'm not fine with, and this was getting some run earlier in the week, it's the Vikings sending Kirk Cousins to San Francisco. I know Jimmy Garoppolo was part of that deal. I'm pretty sure pick 12 would have to be involved because, I don't know, Jimmy Garoppolo, yes, he's very handsome. I kind of want to see him in his underpants.
Oh, my God.
But as far as a football player, I'm not really interested. I don't want him in purple. How about you?
Yeah, Jimmy G, when he was in New England, kind of backing up Tom Brady, there was a lot of intrigue of what he could bring. He had a very good year last year with the Niners, 27 touchdowns, 13 picks. This year he only played in 6 games, but had 7 touchdowns and just didn't look great. I'm not a fan of this at all. When I think of Garoppolo, I think there's a lot of misconception out there that he's just still this young quarterback. He's almost 30 years old. His time has arrived and he's not really showing up. So the Niners would have to throw in a pretty decent package to make this doable for the Vikings because this would be even I would rather have Drew Lock. This is like worst case scenario here, unless they throw in their first rounder and additional picks.
Well, the problem I have with this one is like Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to make you better. I would rather have Kirk Cousins. Your chance of making the playoffs, I think, are better with Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. So looking where Meg Zimmer is in his career, Rick Spielman, this really feels like a make or break season. And adding Jimmy Garoppolo at this time does not seem like a move that's going to get you over that hump and into the playoffs and make a push to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I don't think this is going to happen. And the fact that it's gotten so much steam here in the last couple of days is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins is always linked to the Niners. Oh, they want him. They're going to bring him in. And then I think that's why they get the steam. And obviously, Garoppolo, kind of like the Jared Goff Stafford trade, would have to be involved in that. They're not going to have, they can't have Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins on the team with those contracts. So that's why it gets steam. It's probably the most realistic out of all these, but we'll see what happens. And you were completely froze. You look mildly wasted. You look like the Lupagus on a Saturday evening. So I hope you return. But I'm going to keep going because the
Still
last
moving?
guy. No, you're back. Welcome back. The last guy on the list is probably the best, most intriguing one to me. And I'm going to let you say it.
Well, there's no steam here. There's no smoke. There's no fire. There's nothing. But we all know Jacksonville's going to take Trevor Lawrence with the first pick. You got Gardner Minshew there. The Vikings, they do need to upgrade at their backup quarterback position. Sean Mannion just is nothing. He's just horrible.
It's
Gardner Minshew. If I'm sitting there, I got what, 2 third-rounders, 3 fourth-rounders, a couple fifths. I'm gonna see what Jacksonville wants for this guy during the draft. And I'm going to see what I can do if I can get him. I think you bring him in as your backup, plenty of upside here. He's potentially a guy you could develop and maybe become your starter. He's got moxie. He's crazy. He's a character. I would love to have Minshew Mania running wild in Minnesota.
Yeah, Minshew Mania, baby. I'd be all for it. It wouldn't take much. They're going to move on from him. I mean, the thing with Jacksonville is, why would you want to get rid of him? He is making less than $1 million a year. And he's a hell of a backup just to have sitting on the bench. So they could up the price a little bit just for that factor. I mean, he's making like $800,000 next year. And he's a good backup to Trevor Lawrence. Who wouldn't want him? So it might cost a little more than it probably should. But Gardner Minshew coming in to be our backup. He's under his rookie contract for 2 more years. And maybe he takes over for Kirk Cousins the year after that. This is the one that would be the least amount we'd have to give up. And it has probably the biggest impact.
Well, and I would much rather use our 5th-round pick on Gardner Minshew than taking a quarterback that you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I'd like Jamie Newman. I think he goes in that range, but I'd rather ship that pick to Jacksonville and get this guy who, he had a great stretch. Was it 2 years ago where he kind of brought some life into the Jacksonville Jaguars organization, gave him some hope. They replaced him with Jake Luton. I think there were some injuries last year that weren't really publicly disclosed as much as I think was going on there. So again, I'm a Gardner Minshew fan, and how do you not love this guy? How do you
tough not to love him? And you know what? His numbers back it up, and he's played on a very shitty team. So his numbers, look at them. They're damn good on a crappy team. For some reason, he just fell out of favor in Jacksonville. They moved on kind of from him. Maybe he was running around buck ass. I can only imagine what he does in the locker room. But he's very fun. But yeah, Gardner Minshew, I'd welcome with open arms. And you're right. If we got those 5th-round picks, what are we going to do? Take KJ Osborne? Come on.
Ugh. Could you imagine me, you, Gardner Minshew, Bush Jones, and Britton Colquitt night on town?
Oh, man. Britton Colquitt would definitely be the driver, which we would appreciate. And it would be very fun. And hopefully we could pick up Chad Beebe on the way and see how nutty that guy gets.
He'd be drinking water. He'd probably go to the bar and order a White Claw.
Ooh, those things are gross.
They are gross.
All right, well, those are our quarterbacks. Those are some possibilities as far as trading for a quarterback. While it is a pie in the sky idea, anything is possible.
And some of these have gotten some rumors, have gotten some heat. I fully expect Kirk Cousins to be under center opening day 2021, and that's what I want. But I do hope that Gardner Minshew is on the bench backing him up.
Yeah, I think if anybody says they don't want Gardner Minshew on their team just strictly for entertainment purposes, they're lying.
They're lying.
They're a liar.
They're lying, and they know it every time they look in the mirror. All right. Well, here's something you're going to know every time you look in the mirror after watching this. There is no Starbucks in the town of Starbuck, Washington.